My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content.
All right, guys, welcome to Property Profits Podcast. I'm your host, Bryce Kaminsky, filling in for Dave Dubow. And have you ever wondered how to turn neglected century-old houses into lucrative investments while laughing through the chaos with your partner? Well, today, my guest, Wendi Thompson from Colorado, is here to share her wild journey of rehabbing historic homes, defying market norms, and creating thriving communities. Wendi, welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Thank you. It's my honor to be here. Thanks.
Yeah, we've got a lot to dive in, so let's dive right into the top. Share a little bit with the people listening along at home how you got started with real estate investing.
Oh my gosh, it's kind of interesting. I'll try to keep it short because it's a little bit of a long drawn story. But back in 2019, I left my life behind in Texas. It sounds like I'm from there, but I'm not. I'm a Southern girl, and basically escaped my life. I left a difficult marriage behind. I left my entire career in oil and gas behind that I'd spent 25 years in, and made the move out here to Colorado. And I had always wanted to get into real estate. And my mom used to joke that I should have my own HGTV show, which, okay, cool. But long story short, this time a year ago, there had been an opportunity to potentially go back to Houston, and I turned it down. I did not really want to get back into oil and gas. And at the same time, my partner and I had already been house hacking our own house. We live in a 120-some-year-old Victorian here in Pueblo, Colorado, and we have gutted it and are putting it back together.
Wow.
Yeah, and we didn't work on it at all last year. And in fact, last year we had our flip that we had picked up in the North Historical District. So one of the interesting things about Pueblo is the city is split by the Arkansas River. So you have a North and a South Historic District. So the home we live in is in the South, and the flip we picked up is in the North. So it's kind of cool to hit those two neighborhoods. And so what ended up happening is we spent last year just working on the flip, put our own house on hold. And through all of this, one day, I knew I wanted to do more than just flip houses. I wanted to be able to scale it and help other people with their real estate journey too. And so back about this time last year, all of the ads in my Facebook feed turned to this $17 masterclass, and it was all girl real estate investors. So it's so I took the masterclass, and it was a very high value $17 I spent. I got a lot more than $17 out of it. And of course, it was a funnel to potentially join the greater network. And so I did. And one of the things that was great is it opened up, even for me, for somebody that was already investing in real estate and had what I felt like a good grasp of it, I learned there was a whole nother world out there. The whole thing of using other people's money, because to that point, I've been using my own and going, oh my gosh, how do I scale this? The fact that I could be a lender to other women in the network so that they could buy their properties to buy and hold, fix and flip, whatever they wanted to do. And also, there was a lot of education and training provided within the network. And it just has kind of snowballed from there. And so since then, since last May, really, when I joined that network, I've done quite a few deals. And I don't like to sit here and brag, oh, I've done, X number of deals. But what that means is that I've been able to lend out money to probably a half a dozen different women. In fact, today I'm getting ready to do another one, which is awesome. And it's taught me a lot, not just about the power of being able to be part of other people's dreams and visions, but also building up my own thing and figuring out where my strengths and weaknesses lie. And also, there's so many different pieces and parts to real estate. You can be a wholesaler. You can do house hacking, you can do flips, you can do multifamily, you can do single family rentals, so many different strategies. And so where it really helped me is to hone down on not just what I wanted to be in, but what I don't want to be in. And that was really valuable. And then as we had talked about a little while ago, I had bought into a multifamily opportunity last June and had referred so many people, mostly the women in my network, to it that they said, "Hey, would you like a job?"
You're
So,
already doing it. You might as well
yeah,
do it.
you're right. May as well get rewarded for that. So I ended up coming on board with that and was just brought to Houston because I sold over $1.5 billion worth of real estate, which for me is crazy because I don't have a sales background. But again, it went to not just the opportunity that I was selling because it is a phenomenal one, but also the power of relationships in real estate and mindset also. And I think those two things maybe sometimes get overshadowed by some of the other things like the physical mechanics of finding a deal
Yeah, the
and closing it,
strategies
all of
and,
that. Yeah,
like marketing strategies or whatever,
right.
but none of it works if you, the driver, aren't, of the right mind. So
Right.
what inspired you to focus on rehabbing the historic houses? There's easier things to do.
Right. So, I come from a family of five. My father was in the timber industry growing up. We moved around a lot, and a lot of the time it was some pretty crappy old houses my parents bought. Because when you have five kids,
You take what you can get.
you take what you can get. And the last house that we lived in was in my hometown of Lynchburg, Virginia, and it was a huge Victorian with 6 bedrooms and just a giant house, but it needed to be rehabbed. So my parents put all of us to work, and I loved it. And so from that point on, every house that I'd had, my own house, even if it was a brand new build, I was constantly going in there and redoing stuff. It started out, simple with things like paint, but then I got into doing floors and, all kinds of stuff. I even redid my kitchen and in my house in Houston, and my contractor was like, "You want a job?" Which was great. That I thought that was a really great testament. And so I just caught the bug. And when I moved out here, I met my partner, Chris, and he was in commercial construction for his entire career, but he had also been doing flips for the last 30 years. And so I had this built in partner in crime and also somebody that could teach me the skills that I didn't have, including not knowing how to talk to a contractor, like our plumbers, electricians, those kind of guys. And so once we embarked on that flip together, plus our own house, I just I loved it. And the thing about Pueblo, Colorado, where we're at currently, is it's a most of the houses here are historically old. We're talking more than 100 years old, and many of them are in very, very bad shape. So it truly is a labor of love. And when you go into a house, you can feel it's like sad and depressed in there because somebody had just beat the crap out of it. And so when you pick a house like that up, shovel up all the mouse poop, get everything else out of it, and restore it back to
Mm.
something that's beautiful and it's going to be a home for somebody, there's just nothing more satisfying in the world to me than that. And I also am somebody that I'm a very hands-on person, so I love to get in there and get down and dirty and rip stuff out with a jackhammer or a sledgehammer. And
Mhm.
then for me, it's like a game, finding beautiful finishes for a deal and really providing somebody a home, especially in this area. It's kind of a slum, to be honest. It's kind of crime ridden. It's kind of a depressed area. And so to be able to come in and create a win-win. So a win for us, obviously we want to make money on our projects, but also a win for the home buyer. They're getting a beautiful home that in many other places of the country would cost double or triple for what they're
Yeah.
getting here. And so it's just really part of what my heart is, and I truly love it.
So, living the house hack life. At one point here, you're down to only a toilet for over 2 months.
Yep.
Sounds like quite an adventure. Tell us a little bit more about that experience, because usually, um, that can add some additional stress to a relationship. I
Yes.
mean, at least you're both of the same mindset. It could have been one
Right.
person who was like an office worker coming home to a construction site every night. So
Right.
both of you on the same page, like used to being in construction sites, but um at some point you do want like drywall and flooring and
Right.
things like that in your life. So tell us a little bit more about how that went.
It was really interesting. I mean, when I moved into this house with him, I used to call it the 50 shades of carpet because there were literally different carpets in every room of the house that were covering up the original floors, which we unfortunately have not been able to save. They were just too far gone. Um, but even the kitchen had carpet.
Yeah.
The man who had owned the
I've
house.
seen bathrooms with carpet. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just gross. And the last time this house was officially renovated was back in the 50s. So it was like mid-century modern that looked like somebody had vomited all over it. It was just terrible.
Have you
And
seen carpet over carpet?
oh yes, in fact, I'm carpet girl. I got to tear all that out. And so the other thing that people did is that it's a two-story house. It is a Victorian in every sense of the word. They left the upstairs 1903. The downstairs was Brady Bunch. And so one of the first things we decided to do is to transform it back to a 1903 house, of course, with modern everything. I mean, everything that happened, the first time we plugged in something upstairs, the house caught on fire. I mean, it was just crazy stuff. And then um, we had a toilet downstairs and a bathtub upstairs and a 20-gallon hot water tank that couldn't even fill that tub. So we tore all that out. And literally, I'm a geologist. So being out in a tent with no shower for weeks at a time, this was not a stretch for me. I think most people would have broken up or ended up divorced over this, but we laughed about it. We had fun. And so once a week, we would just go to a hotel actually, just to be in a nice clean bed and not have dust and take showers and all of that. And we would make it like a slumber party. And when we came back, be like, okay, we're back to it.
Back to
Um,
work.
yep, use the kitchen sink as a way to wash ourselves off during the week
And the paintbrushes
and the paint and the
and
paintbrushes,
the
all of it.
buckets, the everything
Yeah.
sink.
And then what happened is we finally got one of the two bathrooms upstairs finished to where we could actually use it after 2 months. But then we had to replace our sewer line. So then we didn't even have a toilet for 2 weeks. And so we ended up having to have an outhouse in the backyard. So everybody knew when you were,
Sounds like you guys need to invest in a trailer, an RV.
right.
Just park it in the driveway like my grandparents did when they built their house in California. They
Yeah,
just bought an
you should
RV
have.
and lived in that, and at least it's like a separate
Right.
an outhouse, literally an entire
Yeah.
house. So um how do you stay positive in that sort of mindset? I'm sure that you know uh, with the chaos of massive rehabs like that, how do you guys stay positive and keep that sense of humor about it?
It's interesting. I mean, both of us came from very bad previous marriages where there was just it was just bad. And so from day one, he and I have always cherished each other. We've always respected each other. We don't argue, we don't scream, we don't fight. When we don't agree on something, we literally sit down and just talk about it and we listen to each other. And in this case, we both knew what we were getting into, eyes wide open. And we both were like, from day one, are you up to the job of this? Are we going to let this affect our relationship? No, because everything that happened, including our plumbing inspection failing 7 times, it's an absolute train wreck with that in that respect. And when things like that happened, when the big things happened, it was out of our control. And so we had a decision to make, and it all went to mindset. It was, do we stay positive about this and laugh about it, and we know that this too shall pass, or do we get upset about it, stressed about it, and take it out on each other?
Yeah.
We had that choice because no matter what, the circumstances that happened were going to happen. And the only thing that we had control of was our attitude about it. And
Mm.
we had both made a conscious decision to just choose to be happy regardless of
Just
what's going on around
relax.
us. Yeah.
Just everyone relax.
Yeah. And people around us are like, y'all are nuts and are y'all insane and blah blah blah. We're like,
You say, yeah, we
yeah,
are.
we are, and we're having fun. So it's really been an extraordinary adventure. And we still have a few months worth of work to do on the house, but the people that have been in here, even with it torn up, dust this thick, foot thick. I moved in here 2 years ago and pretty much is still not unpacked. I mean, everything is boxes, the attic, the basement, the living room are, floor to ceiling boxes. And in a construction zone too. We got all our tools and everything everywhere, and paint and stain and all of it. We're just like, oh, and we're down to 3 dogs. We had 4, and they're all very old. The one that died last year was 16. Our oldest dog this year is 16, one's 15 and one's 12, and they're big dogs. So we have all that in the mix too. And
Yeah,
it's
that'll
just,
keep you busy right there.
oh gosh, yeah. I mean, it's just, we just kind of go with the flow and take the punches, and it's, I mean, I can't complain.
What
It's
else are
great
you
out.
gonna do?
Right.
So you mentioned being part of that large all-girl real estate network.
Yes.
How has networking and collaborating with other investors influenced your success so far in real estate?
I cannot even tell you how much it has changed my life. The network is called the Women's Real Estate Investors Network. I mean, it's a pretty simple name. And it started out with this woman in Texas. She's the founder, and now she and her sons are involved in it. And it started out as meetups in the Dallas area, and now it's expanded to a nationwide network. And it's over 4,000 of us. And not everyone in the group has the same level of success, and that has to do with where they are in their lives. But for me, the big piece of that is, you would never know this, but I'm naturally pretty introverted. And I took some advice from somebody last year and said, just throw yourself out there and just do it and build your network. And so over between last May and now, I've spent countless hours just building those relationships and that network. And not only has it helped me as a real estate investor, it's helped them, but it's also opened doors into other avenues that I would have never been introduced to had I not become a part of this network. And it's led from Chris and I going, we're never going to get in our careers again. How in the crap are we going to make enough money, you know, to live the rest of our lives? And so we've gone from that to, we're going to be able to do some very big things in very big ways to help people become very wealthy on their own, in their own worlds. And so it really is about the networking, and it also is about and I don't know if it's like this in other big, nationwide real estate groups, but in this one, we're very tight knit, and there's a lot of trust there. So once you have established yourself as somebody that's trustworthy, um, at least for me, I feel like it's put me into a little bit of a natural like coach and mentorship thing, because I have my hands in so many different things. And I come at it from a place of truly giving of myself, because with no expectation of anything in return. I'm not charging these women to spend hours talking to them, but what that has led to is everything that I've given, and it has been from my heart, I have gotten back so many times over, and I'm so grateful for that. So it really is the power of your relationships, I think, that make this so successful, and really and truly coming from a place of, if you don't want to be, woo woo and say a place of love, at least from a place of gratitude. I'm so grateful for all of this. I mean, it's one thing I do every day is write down 10 things I'm grateful for and why. And invariably something to do with this real estate world. I'm great. I write down every day. And when you do that, it keeps you in a certain kind of mindset that allows opportunities to come to you, and in turn, spread the love and share it. So it's a win-win kind of a thing. And I think when people approach things from not how much money am I going to make, or what is this going to do for me, but how is this going to serve everybody in the deal, I think that makes a phenomenal difference. And that's just kind of how I operate. So
Yeah, you mentioned self-funding your deals initially.
right.
Can you share your experience transitioning to relying more on this network for funding and these
Right.
other people's money?
Sure. So coming into this, I really had no idea that there was other money out there. And so what happened in my case is I had a beautiful house in the mountains. It was my dream home. But because of, leaving my life behind, I was in a situation where I had to sell it. And I did very well on that. Being in Colorado in the mountains, you can imagine, right?
Mm.
So um, it was It was seed money for me to literally start over again in life. And what I found out really quickly is that when you have your own house hack, you've got a flip going and PML's out, that money disappears quite fast. Um, so
Carrying two mortgages,
yes, all of
carrying.
that. And I also found out that without W-2 income, you cannot get traditional funding. So I was like, oh my gosh, we're screwed. What are we going to do? So becoming a part of this network, that's where I learned there is other people's money. And so um, what I've done for that is for me, it's been pretty simple. I have a really good credit score. And what I have found is like, for example, for people listening, I'm sure most of the people listening know what a DSCR mortgage is, but it's the debt service coverage ratio. When I got the first one of those, I was literally in tears because they didn't care what my income was. They could have cared less. They just wanted to know that I had the money that I needed to bring to closing to get the thing done.
Mm-hmm.
And that opened up so many more possibilities. It's like, holy cow, because they based the lending on the property itself, the rental income coming in that can pay the mortgage, service the debt, and then whatever's left over is the money that you make. And so I thought that was brilliant. And then also leveraging the equity in your properties that you hold, you can pull that out and use that to fund other deals. That was something new to me too. And then I looked into just getting business credit for myself, and I did that. There are, in fact, American Express, for example, they keep throwing more and more and more credit cards at me. So you can credit card stack for business.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
yeah, you can literally buy houses and rehab them with free,
Credit
it's
cards.
basically free money. It's 0% interest for 2 years. So that's one way. And then also, I just recently applied for and was approved for business credit, and they asked me what I was going to do with it. I said, buy properties or, help people buy their properties. And they're like, okay, cool. So they gave me $250,000 without asking. And then the final piece, and this is a very interesting thing, is there's something called infinite banking or bank on yourself whole life insurance. I have
Yep.
been doing that for 15 years. So I understand how it works very well. So you literally can become your own bank. You can
Yep.
borrow against your own money and use that. And so I've used that, and that's a rinse and repeat over and over and over thing again. And that has been a brilliant thing too, because I'm making money on both sides of the deal. My money in my insurance is still making money while it's in there, but it's also making money by
When it's out.
either, yeah, when it's out. So it's a huge win. And so I've been kind of starting to educate people within the network about that, because they've asked, how are you doing this? So that's really how I've gone from self-funding to using other people's money and leveraging that. And it's been really great and easy and opened so many doors. It's a whole new world.
So what are your long-term goals for the real estate industry?
That's a good question. I'm definitely at a crossroads right now. No matter what, I will be in real estate. If we choose not to accept this opportunity that's been presented to me, that's almost too good to turn down, we will still be in real estate. We will still do fix and flips, and also private mini lending for other women. And also because we have invested in the multifamily arena, that's what we want to do. Over time, we definitely want to get as passive as possible. And the multifamily that I've invested in, within 5 years, we'll have, several $100 million worth of equity from a portfolio perspective that we can tap into to do much bigger things. And so that is kind of the long-term plan. We're in our mid 50s. We're not going to be able to keep physically doing the work that is involved with flips forever. We just do it
Mhm.
because we love it. The other thing is, as I had mentioned earlier, is that before we jumped on this, is that because of that multifamily opportunity and selling that $1 billion+ worth of real estate, they offered me a VP level position in Houston. And it's definitely being part of the inner circle and it would be a big role in getting this whole multifamily thing off the ground, because it is a very unique, huge project, and there's some excitement to that for me to be part of that. And so we're just trying to decide whether I take that job and we still keep doing all this other stuff, or we not take that job and just keep doing what we're doing. But either way, we're going to keep doing what we're doing long
Yeah,
term.
so it sounds like you should take the job.
I know, right?
What's the worst case? You don't like it and you quit?
Right. If I don't
You
take
know,
it,
it's not going
I'm
to stop you from doing your flips anyway.
absolutely not. And Texas is a much easier, more cost affordable place to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
flips. Colorado's
it's not
prohibitive.
too bad. Gas is cheap too.
Everything's cheaper there.
Everything's cheaper in Texas. So, if people want to connect with you, they want to find out more, what should they do? How do they find you?
I would say the easiest way to find me, honestly, is to hit me up and slide into my DMs on Facebook Messenger. It's just at Wendi Thompson. It's WendiThompson. You can also hit me up on Instagram, or and those are the two best ways. And
Mhm.
I'm very responsive. Don't worry. I've gotten to know quite a few people just through DM chats. So, and we've become friends. So yeah, hit me up anytime. I'm happy to connect and see if there's something that we can talk about, or at least guide each other in the right direction for resources and anything else you might need.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I really appreciate you stopping by, Wendi.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much. This has been fun.
Yeah, no problem. And until next time, guys, we'll catch you on the next episode.
Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.